How you doing, guys? This is going to be a response to Daniel Harper's first beer chat that he posted. And basically, what he's doing is he's trying to get away from the reviews because you can only have so many opinions of Stone R&R Coconut IPA before you get tired of it, right? Uh, and try to expand, get people talking about different topics and communicating with each other. It's a bit harder now because of the fucking YouTube getting rid of their video response thing, but I will link the video down below where Daniel is talking, and this is going to be my response to him. I don't know if I and it's kind of weird, like it's not like I can really talk to him point to point in this uh, response, because he even remarked when I told him I was going to do this response, excuse me, by the way, um, that the Canadian craft brew scene is a lot different than the American craft brew scene. Just the size alone is vastly different. Because, Canada only has 1/10 the population of the US. And so, anyway, he was speculating on what the future of national beer brands would be in America, and what the future held for smaller craft breweries. How many would fall along the wayside? How many would manage to thrive and keep their quality by expanding as national brands and being distributed everywhere? And he cited some examples of Bell's and Sierra Nevada and Green Flash, where he's kind of speculating that the quality of their IPA will not be as good as they get bigger, and that's a very real problem. It's not so much a problem here in Canada because the craft brew scene is so small. It's very small. It's very regional. Very very few brands actually can be found, outside of their specific region. Here in Nova Scotia, the Maritime region, there's a lot of breweries now. There's a whole bunch of them actually, and it was kind of funny. My friends from the Beyond the Pour podcast that I do most Friday nights, that I guess panel on, I guess, were speculating that we were reaching sort of a breaking point where the craft brew market here in Nova Scotia might collapse upon itself with only a couple breweries surviving, right? Because the population of Nova Scotia really can't support uh, a brewery every couple miles or whatever. It's getting to the point where we might have that in the near future. There's so many breweries opening up. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's great for local business. It's great to have artisanal craft brew. It's great to have a local that you can actually walk to and buy beer from. It's great, but we don't really have the population, I don't think, that can support too many more breweries. So hopefully we sort of plateau here in a little while. As much as I like to see new breweries open up, I want to see the current breweries sustained and continue to producing good beer. Propeller and Garrison, the two real big boys here, have been around for ages now. They're basically the two big regional brands here in the Maritimes. They actually ship their stuff to places like Ontario now, and some other provinces, I believe. So they're actually well known, and they have expanded quite a bit just in their brewing capacities as well. And then you have regional breweries, like in Quebec. You have McCausland Brewery. Uh, it is it is I'd kind of compare it to Sam Adams, really, in the U.S. It's sort of, I don't know if they make as much as Sam Adams, but it seems like their quality of their brews is about the same. Where a lot of their standard brews, um, they're okay. They're acceptable. They're good for mass appeal. Um, they'll get a lot of people drinking them. And at the same time, their specialty stuff is friggin' awesome. Like Sam Adams, a lot of Sam Adams' real specialty stuff is fucking tits, right? Uh, so, their seasonals and stuff like that, like the St. Ambrose pumpkin beer, which I'm drinking with Propeller Porter in a Beer Alchemy, by the way. Sort of tastes like a good version of chai tea. Um, yeah, they seem to be at a good spot where, I mean, if they got any bigger, maybe some of their stuff would fall by the wayside, but they seem to be in a really good place right now, and their stuff gets down to the U.S. Another good example is Unibrew, which is actually owned by one of the big boys. They're in a unique position where Sleeman slash Sapporo, who own Unibrew, don't fuck with them. So the quality of their beer has stayed consistently pretty damn good. Um, and they are distributed fairly widely in central Canada anyway, and definitely in the U.S. Not so much here. Hint, hint. That kind of pisses me off. But yeah, we're still, as much as we've expanded, especially in like Ontario and places like that, with all kinds of breweries popping up. We're still taking baby steps compared to the U.S., which is there's just breweries everywhere, isn't there? Sam Adams, like I mentioned, they're probably the most well-known national craft brew brand now, if you still want to call them a craft brew brand. We don't really have that sort of thing um, in Canada. I mean, even with McCausland and Unibrew out there, they're still not necessarily national brands here in Canada. So that's sort of like the difference right there. Um, like Sam Adams, I find they are sort of hurting themselves by being big and expanding because I've mentioned many times it's become sort of a pet peeve with me. All the seasonals Sam Adams has, they have like a seasonal every week it seems, and a lot of them are very similar and seem quite pointless. Like they could interchange. What is it? Their summer lager with their spring ale, or is it a spring lager summer ale? I can't remember which is which, but they're so interchangeable. Like they should just cut. They should just make one and make that their one seasonal for the next 4 or 5 months. But anyway, so yeah, in Canada, it's not as bad. There's not as much danger of breweries getting so big that it hurts them too much. I mean, some like Propeller has been noticeably their product has slipped a little bit in the last couple of years, but that had more to do with some problems they were having with their equipment and things like that. Like they had bad yeast for a while, yeast issues. With their expansion, hopefully they've actually got the room and the equipment and stuff to clear all that stuff up and get back to business. Where do I see Canadian breweries in the future? I think definitely here in the Maritimes, like I was saying, there's probably we're gonna reach a point where the market bottoms out. I don't think we'll see. Maybe Propeller and Garrison will become true regional breweries, and maybe even national at some point. But um, honestly, Molson and Labatt, they have a stranglehold, like a massive stranglehold. Even though we've dented a good piece out of the the beer market, they still have a stranglehold on especially regional places. Like they own so many different regional brands that are well known. The kind of beers your grandfather and your father drank and stuff like that. That they are ingrained everywhere. So I don't see the craft brew market necessarily growing much bigger than it is right now, as far as taking a share out of the big boys' pie. Um, as far as regional stuff, but yeah, I can see like Unibrew maybe expanding, becoming a really big regional thing, and hopefully Sleeman Sapporo won't screw with them. Um, I can see the Ontario craft brew market and the Quebec, the Ontario craft brew market probably will thrive pretty well. It'll probably continue to grow because they have the population to support the breweries there. Like most of the Canadian population is centralized within Ontario, Quebec. So, and Quebec has just a multitude of brew pubs, and Quebec is like a different country altogether in some respects. Different culture, definitely. Uh, where there's lots of local little breweries, local pubs, and stuff like that. Do I see a lot more local craft breweries becoming, the people's preferred thing to go to instead of shopping the big boys? Yeah, I can see that. Again, not as much as in the U.S. Again, you need a population to do that. You need a sizable overall population in the country, so you can have these little pockets of uh, not even regional brands, but just local brands that can thrive because there's just enough damn people around to buy them, right? But yeah, I'm still pretty optimistic. I don't think the big boys are going to necessarily wipe out all of us the little craft breweries at this point. I think there's definitely too many people now who are into natural foods and eating healthy and are aware that the big boys are kind of dickering with the stuff they make, and then the stuff they make is generally slop and not good quality. And it just makes sense that different provinces would promote craft breweries and stuff like is really happening here in the Maritimes right now, because that adds to the tourism dollars, and the Maritime provinces especially really need the tourism dollars. Like, that's a big part of our economy is getting tourism, and to have a lot of nice little craft brews, no matter which county you go to in Nova Scotia, for instance. I mean, if you want to avoid the city and drive through the country, it's still nice to have a nice little craft brewery here and there and everywhere that you stop. Uh, I guess my local, the closest to me anyway, Sea Level at the Port Pub. That's an excellent little spot for anyone who's going to vacation to Nova Scotia, because you get to sit right there at the restaurant, you drink the freshly crafted beer, and Sea Level truly is one of those little breweries in a closet kind of thing, right? Um, and you can sit out, eat your food, drink your beer, watch the actual tidal river come in, because it's set right on it's set right at sea level, right at the Bay of Fundy. So, really cool shit. Yeah, I don't know if I made any points here when I was talking. I don't know if I if I coherently said anything. I just got off work. I'm not particularly lucid at this point. But I thought I'd try to throw my 2 cents in there. I don't know if anything I just said sounds rational or reasonable or whatever. Feel free to disagree with me, call me a dumbass, or agree with me and say I'm awesome. I prefer the latter, but whatever suits you. And thanks for watching. Be good, guys, and we'll see you later.